Hello YouTube, it's Keith, Kevin, Ken. How you doing? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Time again for another video. This is part 2 of the video that I recorded about 2 days ago. I promised in that video that I would have a part 2 and that I would do it the same and release it the same day. Didn't do that. I started drinking, smoking cigars, and watching all of the episodes of The Last Dance with Michael Jordan on Netflix for the past day and a half. So I'm just getting over my hangover and thought it was time to do part 2. This video is about all of the knives that Spyderco has released during this first 6 months of 2020. All of them. All of the distributor exclusives, all of the sprint runs, all of the regular production knives. If you haven't seen the video that came before this, go check that out. It's all of the variations of some of the value folders, as well as the most expensive knives so far and the most interesting knives so far that Spyderco has released this year. I'm recording this July 21st, 2020, and now we're going to finish that up with all of these knives you see on the table. We're talking about over 50 knives that Spyderco has already done. I have an email of 2 knives that Spyderco has in the mail coming to me. And then I've seen on Instagram that Spyderco is planning, 4 more distributor exclusives that I didn't know about that will be coming. So a lot more knives coming your way, but this is the midpoint, the 6-month point. So let's start. Don't forget to watch the movie that's part 1. This is part 2. Now, you'll see in this video a couple of times I actually have duplicates. This is a real nice knife. This is a blue Para 3 lightweight, but the most important part of this lightweight, this is the first knife that Spyderco releases with CPM Spy 27 steel. Crucible and Spyderco had worked together to do an exclusive steel. It's Spy 27. It has a lot of cobalt in it, whatever that means. I'm not going to pretend like I know steel. But SPY is what steel is on the chart. Okay? So it's Spy 27. And in a wonderful knife. I mean, when you start talking about a Para 3 lightweight that's blue, the reason I have 2 of them is my version with my number 023 from Spyderco was so late that I just went and bought one. I bought one because I wanted to give you guys a video, and Spyderco was taking a long time to get mine. And then when Spyderco's came, it was great. I'm glad I have 2 of them. But that's why I have 2. Spyderco continued. There are so many Para 3 knives. I continue to say that Para 3 has done more variations from Spyderco the soonest than any other knife. I mean, of course, the Delica and the Endura over the decades that it's been out have done a lot. But Para 3, they introduced Para 3. They did all kinds of variations. They're still doing variations. Then they did the lightweight, which, by the way, I'm still wondering why the Paramilitary 2 doesn't have a lightweight. So, and they continue. Remember, this is the first 6 months of 2020. We still have another 6 months to go. This is Paramilitary, the Para 3 lightweight with the compression. Not the compression. All of them have a compression lock. but with a full serrated edge. Earlier, they released last year the lightweights that were with plain edge satin and a black plain edge, and that's the serrated edge. This is the green Para 3 with 204P steel. This was a Knife Center exclusive. These two from Cutlery Shop are just interesting knives. As you can see, they have the bright orange that a lot of Cutlery Shop exclusives have. But in this case, on the other side, they have different colors. So one was orange with blue, and the other was orange with green. Interesting, exclusive from Cutlery Shop. And what's the steel on these? Rex 45 steel on both of them as well. A lot of Rex 45 this year. Not only where we talk about the burnt orange series, but a lot of Rex 45 on some producer exclusives. This is one of the most recent Blade HQ exclusive. It is the copper Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And let me just tell you, the copper PM2, again with Rex 45 steel, it is a heavy beast. And as you can see, the patina set in about 2 days out of its package, and you can see that it's still working. But that's the thing about copper. It should turn into a real nice knife. Again, another Rex. I haven't counted, but there are a lot of Rex steel knives. This is another really special knife from Spyderco. This was the green Paramilitary 2. Two things special about this. Crucible CPM released this year their S45 VN steel. That's the new S35 VN steel. Okay? Crucible started with S30V. Not the company, but we're real familiar with S30V. Then S35 VN. Now it's S45 VN. Spyderco released this Paramilitary 2, the first knife. They have another one coming out this year with S45 VN steel. The other thing here is these, does it show? The other thing is these scales. The pattern on the scales, unique with Spyderco. So that's green, and that's the first knife with S45 VN steel from Spyderco. That steel will be on a lot of knives, a lot of different makers, etc. It will turn into the standard. Now, Spy 27 is only Spyderco's. I love St. Nick's. We saw the Mannix 2 in part 1 of this video. This is the Paramilitary 2, where they do their red and black treatment, which you have to just love. Crucibles 4V steel. Again, these things sell out in minutes, but I love it. They do a great job. Spyderco this year is really using the Emerson opener on a number of knives. In part 1, I showed you the Indela, the new knife that's the in-between between the Endura and the Delica. They have an Emerson opener. Last year, they released a Dragonfly with an Emerson opener. And now they have this Paramilitary 2. First time with the Paramilitary 2 with an Emerson opener. They have it with blacked out with the black blade and again with a satin blade. S30V steel on both of those. They're doing some special things with paramilitary too. This year, they're not coming out with the lightweight, I don't think. They might. Soon, you know it's coming. But we do know that they're working with Blade HQ to release pretty soon some new paramilitary 2s. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. This also 2 releases from Spyderco. 10V steel. Brown. Both with a black blade and a satin blade. So a lot of paramilitary 2s, a lot of para 3s so far in the first half of 2020. Of course, we also have them in the Burnt Orange series. This is a series I got super excited about. 2 years ago, they released, or last year, I think 2019. In 2019, they released a paramilitary and para 3 and a military with burnt orange, G10 scales, and Rex 45 steel. Now, at that time, none of us knew they were going to release the entire American-made line of knives with burnt orange and Rex 45 steel. In fact, I trimmed my collection and sold those 3 knives. You know, the para 3, the paramilitary 2, and the military. I actually went out and bought those back on the secondary market brand new. So I sold them. And then when I heard that they were going to do this, I wanted a complete set. So I went. And so whenever you see my burnt orange para 3 G10, paramilitary 2, and military, you'll notice they won't have my collector's club number at the top, 23. This, however, is the para 3 lightweight. And what they're doing in this series is not just the G10, they're also doing the lightweight versions of the knives as well. So, again, a lot of Rex 45 the first 6 months. This entire series has been released except for, you know, the paramilitary 3, paramilitary 2, and the military that I bought last year. But all the other knives are being released this year. We're still waiting for the Native Chief and the lightweight Mannix 2. Yeah, to complete this series, I don't know, they're dragging their feet. This is the little Native. This is the whole family of the burnt orange and Rex 45. Here's the Native G10 version. All of these being released this year quickly, and then they stalled on the Chief and on the Mannix 2 lightweight. Here's the Native lightweight. I do appreciate the fact that they really want to get all of these standard American-made knives in this set. I really like that. They didn't have to do a lightweight para 3. They had already released the para 3. Or the lightweight Native, or even the lightweight Mannix, but they're going to do it. Here's the G10 version of the Mannix 2. Remember, all these knives have just been released the first 6 months. We're going to get a lot more knives, so if you haven't subscribed to this channel, do it, because I show them to you as soon as I can. We are waiting on the lightweight of the Mannix. And yes, you see 2 of these, right? This was actually sent out with the blue lightweight para 3 with Spy 27. They sent out the Shaman Rex 45 steel with the burnt orange. Ugh. It just got caught up in the mail, and I just needed it. And I lucked up and found one at Blade HQ late night. I was just looking at Blade HQ because these sold out quickly. I think it was Blade HQ, and I just bought it. It was there, I bought it, got it sent overnight, and it arrived about a week before I got my own version. So I was able to show it to you guys. Yes, I'm that crazy. And then later, of course, I got my own version. I love the Shamans. I think the Shamans probably are giving the Para 3 the biggest run for its money as far as variations, the fastest variations. I told you about the Para 3 and how many variations we've seen so fast. Boy, this Shaman has really taken off, and we're seeing a lot of variations. Most of them coming from distributors. Talking about that, I mean, look, Shamans are one of my favorite knives now. I just love it. To me, and I have a lot of fixed blade knives, and I know it's not that big, but it just, once it opens up, it feels like a fixed blade knife to me. It's sturdy. It feels great in the hand. It was great to supersize the Native. You know, the Native Chief is more elongated. This is really like a rounded off Native that's big. But here we go. Just a real nice Shaman. This is the wooden Shaman. Rosewood with, again, Rex 45 steel. That was a producer's exclusive. Most of these Shamans are sold out. I mean, they sell out so quick. It's not even funny. The forest green Shaman. This was with crew wear and a black blade. This is a beautiful knife. You get crew wear, black blade, and that wonderful green G10. I'm going to have to explain. Now, this is the same situation. Could not wait long enough to get mine from Spyderco with the 23 on it. I was surprised just checking out Blade HQ that this was still available, so I grabbed it. Had it sent to me overnight so I could show it to you guys early on. I'm happy, you know, to be able to have two of them. I was thrilled to death. Surprised that this was still available for as long. Most of these collaborations between Spyderco and Blade HQ go in minutes. This one was a little slower. So I have two of them. CPM M4 steel, black blade. And then these last four are all Shamans, and they all were bought by me. Not really released. They were released earlier by Spyderco, but I had trimmed them. And I want to... There are so many Shamans. I want a complete set of Shamans at the end of the day. I just do. You know? So, plus, I haven't sold knives because of quarantine and all that. I just don't want to struggle with the post office right now. But this was released a couple of years ago, the Satin Blade Shaman from Blade HQ. You notice it doesn't have my number on it. I, again, secondary market, paid the high price. Spyderco originally released 4 Shamans. They were black G10, all 4 of them. I trimmed 3 of those 4. I kept the serrated black edge, but I didn't have the plain edge, so I bought the plain edge. By the way, all of the black G10 Shamans with what, S30V steel are just available. They're available on Blade HQ, Knife Center, wherever you buy your knives. These have not sold out. It's all the fancy dancy ones. But if you want a Shaman, you can still get a Shaman. I bought these Shamans. It was funny. I was thinking about going to the secondary market for them because I realized I wanted to plug all the holes in my collection of Shamans. And then I went, wait, Blade HQ still has all these. So you can do that. This was the plain edge, the very first one. And then the serrated satin. So 4 of the originals still out there. They're production knives. S30V steel. If you don't have a Shaman because you're waiting to grab one of these hard to find ones, that's great. Do it. You be you. But grab a regular Shaman. Check it out. I would love to see a lightweight Shaman at some point. But we'll have to see. There you have it. That's part 2. You put part 1 and part 2 together, you come up with over 50 knives that Spyderco has already distributed 6 months into 2020. We have so many more. Don't miss part 1. Part 1 has all those fancy, smancy new knives that Spyderco released, not just variations. And also the value folders, some lightweights and tenacious and all of those things, which are great. If you're beginning, you want to start in Spyderco, those are the knives you want to look at. And by the way, I'm busting down so many boxes, and I always pull out. People go, you never use your knives. Well, I have about 25 value folders, and so they cut like no one's business. That was my first introduction to Spyderco. And so I just love them. You don't have to use an $800 knife to cut down your boxes and to do a bunch of stuff. So go try those out. But there you have it. On Instagram, I've been going over the purchases in 2019 because I've been very nostalgic around my birthday. Yesterday was my birthday, and I turned 61. And then I said, wait a second, let me pull out all of the Spydercos because I had to wait 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks. Spyderco hasn't released a knife, and I was getting upset. And so I pulled them all out. And actually, I'll be honest with you, got a little sick to my stomach. I was stunned how many knives have already come in. And here I am, greedy. So I thought I'd do a video for you guys. Wishing you guys all the best health. Wear a mask. That is not a political statement. That's a statement from a person who wants to see his grandchildren, wants to watch the Cleveland Browns and Ohio State. And yes, people took shots at me because I said the Cleveland Browns, but I'm loyal to where I was born, Youngstown, Ohio. Wishing you guys all the best. Take good care of yourselves. Keep those pockets full. Goodbye.